What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome into the Mariners post-game video. Before we start, happy Easter, everybody. Hope you guys all had a great day with friends, family, or whoever you celebrate this day with. Also apologize for the recap being out late today. Had nothing to do with the Mariners' awful game and their loss today and how they lost it. It wasn't I'm not going to make a video because of how that happened. I honestly, to me, I love talking about these games because it's therapeutic. I was just with the family today. Didn't have time to get to the post-game recap earlier, so that's why it's coming later. Last thing, I always mean to do this in the beginning of the videos, but if you can, please hit the like button. Please hit the sub button, especially the like button. Helps me out a lot if you enjoy my post-game recaps, or if you just support the channel and want to help me get more subs and more things like that. The more likes it gets, the more it gets pushed out to more people. So you guys could, if you're just passing, hit the like button. Helps me out a whole lot. And let's dive into today's game between the Mariners and the Guardians. The Mariners drop it 7-6. I hate to use the word heartbreaking at game number 10, but definitely a kind of a brutal loss, a stinging loss for the Mariners. A game that they lost several times, it felt like. So definitely a tough loss for the Mariners to take. Before the game started, the Mariners did place Andres Munoz on the injured list. If you watch my other post-game recaps, I talked about something about Munoz didn't look right. Like, you're still getting guys out. The swing and misses weren't quite there, so hopefully this is just a short IL stint to get him back right. They also sent Matt Festa back down to AAA. Not shocked after yesterday. Brought up, who was the pitcher? Topa was brought up. He pitched really well today. First name, Justin Topa was brought up today. And then JB Bukakis, is that how you pronounce it? Yeah, JB Bukakis was also brought up. They both spent time in the big leagues. Topa, I figured, would come up, but Bukakis brought up also with the injury to Munoz. And listen, that injury has already reared its ugly head, unfortunately, for the Mariners. It is already, I'm not going to say the word cost them a game, but certainly looking at this game today, you figure a healthy Munoz, maybe this is a game they get. So let's get into it. First and foremost, thought George Kirby was really good today. Good bounce back for him after kind of a tough start against the Angels. 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, 4 strikeouts. Diego Castillo pitched a really clean inning. Trevor Gott looked really good in his inning, and we'll get to the rest in a little bit. It looked like the first inning might be the only offense. Cal Raleigh hits a 2-run home run, and then after Stephen Kwan triple, Jose Ramirez scores him on a sacrifice fly. It's 2-1 all the way to the 9th. When the Mariners do get a couple of runners on, it's been a while since it happened. I know Tommy La Stella grounded out and got the RBI. That's how the run scored. I think Kelenic walked. Let me see if I can pull up how the 9th inning went. I apologize. It's been, and then, of course, everything in the extra innings I remember. So, it's hard to remember all the everything that happened here. I don't want scoring. I want all plays. There we go. All. Let's get to the 9th here, and this will also help us, dive through everything. Real professional. I had this ready right away. Teoscar Hernandez doubled. That's right. Teo doubled. Jared Kelenic walked, and then Hernandez went to third on a wild pitch. Listella kind of hit a double play ball, but Josh Bell threw away. I think Kelenic would have been safe anyways when Bell tried to turn it, so that scored a run. Went to the bottom of the 9th. Matt Brash came in. Paul Sewald was unavailable. He's pitched the first 2 games of this series. Gabe Spire was probably unavailable after pitching almost 2 innings today as well. So, it was down to, and not that Brash wouldn't be the next guy up anyways, but with Munoz out, Brash is taking on a bigger role now. It was Matt Brash in the 9th, struck out Jose Ramirez, looked really good, kind of got Ramirez another, Mickey Mouse kind of slider, or, frisbee slider, whatever you want to call it. Walked Josh Naylor. Jimenez had a line drive single. Struck out Josh Bell, looked pretty good, and then Will Brennan hit a double that almost looked like it was going to get out. I thought Teoscar Hernandez was going to have it. Couldn't quite come down with it. I thought it was a little odd that the Mariners actually, because A.J. Pollock started in right field, or except Kelenic started in right, Pollock started in left. And in the 9th inning, they went with Teoscar Hernandez. They actually sacrificed the DH because Hernandez was the DH, put him in right field, and did that. I understand La Stella pinch hitting for Pollock. I didn't have a huge issue with that, but I almost would have left Pollock in there, or maybe you put Haggerty in the outfield. Teoscar Hernandez is not a great defensive player. He's looked pretty good so far this year, and I'm not going to bash it, but I don't know. It just seemed like an odd move to me. I don't know if Haggerty catches it or Pollock catches it or Kellenick catches that necessarily either. I do think Jared Kellenick catches that. I will say that. If you would have left it and had Pollock hit, maybe Pollock double plays, whatever, it's still 2-1. I think Jared Kellenick catches that ball, and I think the Mariners win the game. Thought it was an odd decision from Scott. First game this year, I thought there was a couple things from Scott that were little. Actually, you know what? That was probably it, honestly. That might have been the only things I really had an issue with. I thought that was an odd decision to put Teo in the outfield. But anyways, Matt Brash has still got to get those outs. And Brennan still hit that ball really hard. Whether that went out or the Mariners made a great catch at the wall, Matt Brash's control cost him by walking Josh Naylor. And he did not have good feel for that slider. He hung a couple of them. Josh Bell got lucky, did throw some good ones. And then I don't know if it was a fastball or a slider to Brennan, but he didn't have a great feel for it. It's fastball slider, and when you're two pitches and you don't have feel for one of them, players can sit on something or they can get a hanger. And Brennan did, tied the game. They got out of it. In the 10th, the Mariners did not score. Suarez struck out Cal grounded out. Kind of thought that was going to be it. Justin Topa came in and did a nice job in the bottom of the 10th to get it. By the way, that Brennan run tied it at 3. In the bottom of the 10th, like I said, Justin Topa did a real nice job, especially because Miles Straw was the runner at second. It was really fast. So it's hard to turn double plays with guys like that on there. But he was able to strike out Rosario and then got Naylor to fly out to end the inning. They walked Ramirez in between there. Really nice job by Justin Topa. I think he could be someone that sticks here, so that was nice to see. And the 11th, really nice moment. Jared Kellenick with a ringing double off of, I think it was De Los Santos. And yeah, it was De Los Santos. And it was a great at-bat. Kellenick got down early, laid off some pitches that in the past Jared Kellenick would have swung at those. So there were some positives staying. Jared Kellenick was one of them. Drove a ball into the gap, got the runner home, which was Cal Raleigh. They ended up, Haggerty walked, Colton Wong had a sac fly. Mariners got to 5-3. You feel pretty good. 1-run leads in extra innings are tough. Like there's a runner at second base already in scoring position. But 2-run lead, you feel pretty good because you don't really care about that runner at second. You just need to get the 3 batters out no matter what. And the Mariners bullpen just didn't have the juice today to do it. Sorry, my light went down there. And part of that is because they won the first 2 games, which is great. So that's awesome. But you didn't have Paul Sewald today. And you'd already used Brash, Castillo, Gott, and Munoz on the IL. So you're left with Penn Murphy, who would pitch the first 2 games, Paul Sewald, Topa, JB Bukakis, and I think that was about it. And I don't think there's anybody else out there that I forgot. So they went with Bukakis. Who else could you have gone with? Now Penn Murphy did end up pitching, but at that point there was literally just nobody left. You're getting to the point where you have to have Chris Flexen go out there and pitch the inning. So he went with Bukakis. Jimenez doubled, and then Bell grounded out. Brennan singled on a 2-strike pitch. Would have been nice. I thought some of Bukakis' stuff looked okay. I didn't think he looked terrible or anything like that, but it's just there's a reason the guy's got a career 7 ERA. Didn't make the team. Not knocking him. He may end up being a really good pitcher for this team. It's possible. Relievers can come out of nowhere. Like I said, I don't think he looked awful. Now, after they tied it, he walked Mavis Valora. The control went away a little bit. Had a real nice pitch to Med Rosario to strike him out. So he did a nice job bouncing back and getting the Mariners out of the inning. But for the second time, they blew a lead. They did in the 9th, did in the 12th. With Brash, we talked about the control just not being there, not able to throw strikes, not able to get that slider really sharp. With Bukakis, I think he just got hit. I didn't think he looked terrible. I didn't think Brash looked terrible either, but, it is what it is. In the 12th, the Mariners did score on a Teoscar Hernandez single. They did get runners to second and third with Jared Kellenick for a couple outs, and he grounded out against a tough lefty in Herron. There was a couple at-bats in extra innings that I think if the Mariners would have had a hit, they would have won. I think that was one of them. If Kellenick could have come through and gotten a hit there, not knocking Jared, a nice game, that would have won it. And then back in the 11th, when the Mariners went up 5-3, Julio came up with Haggerty at second and J.P. Crawford at first, and he struck out. That was an at-bat where I felt like, man, if Julio drove one there, hit one out, got one to the gap, that probably would have been game over there as well. So just a couple, not missed opportunities. The offense did fine, but, a couple at-bats where I think they really could have put it away. They just couldn't do it. Penn Murphy came in the bottom of the 12th. Felt pretty good. We know Penn Murphy, good reliever. But he walks Jose Ramirez intentionally, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. And then then for some reason, so we've got first and second and nobody out. Murphy tries a pickoff at second base, and the runner was Rosario. And it was just, I thought it was one of the dumbest things the Mariners have done this year. Like, why are you trying? And maybe Rosario was leaning, but looking at the replay, it doesn't look like they had him. Murphy throws it away, and now you've got second and third with nobody out, and the Guardians don't have to do anything. Naylor grounds out, scores a run, and Josh Bell grounds out and scores a run. I'll get to that in a second with Bell, but it just a stupid error from the Mariners, and once that happened, I kind of felt like they're not winning this thing. I don't know why Penn Murphy, and listen, I'm sure he had a reason. I'm sure it was talked to. I haven't read a lot of the post-game quotes. I'm sure somebody asked him, and he gave an answer. It was a mistake. It happens. I'm not going to sit here and rip a person for it. He probably thought he could get him. And listen, in Penn Murphy's defense, had he picked him off, we'd be going, oh my gosh, what a huge play. And now you've got runner first with one out, and you're a double play away from winning this game. So I'm sure it's something that had they been able to do, we'd be praising it. So maybe I shouldn't be ripping it, but it just felt like a dumb decision in that instance. And then, like I said, Naylor grounded out that scored run. Then Josh Bell hit one to Colton Wong that I thought I'm actually more frustrated with Colton Wong in that throw than I am what he did yesterday. That one that everybody was ripping him on in the 7th when he went back to catch it and him and Teo got in. That just seemed like a little miscommunication. He was close to making a really nice play. He made a really poor throw home here on a ball that, truthfully, I thought should have been an out. It looked like it came in plenty of time, but he just made a bad throw. Cal couldn't get the tag down. Looked like maybe he did. I think it was Ramirez that scored the run, but in the replay, he clearly missed the tag, or the throw was bad, so he couldn't get the tag in. Ramirez was clearly safe, and the Guardians won it 7-6. So just a lot of miscues from the Mariners in this game. The intentional or the pickoff attempt by Penn Murphy. I thought putting Teoscar Hernandez in or moving him from DH to right field was kind of a mistake. I will maintain. I think Jared Kelenic catches that ball. Brendan, it was hit hard though. So, and that's where it's like, yeah, I think Kelenic catches that, but Matt Brash got hit hard. Like Brash was not super effective, and these are things the Mariners are going to have to figure out. I talked about in one of my preseason kind of talks with this team. Yeah, the bullpen's a strength. But man, bullpens are right there from being really bad and really good. Like it's not necessarily it's a very thin line for bullpens. We have seen bullpens constantly go from being tops in the league to being the worst. I'm not claiming the Mariners bullpen is the worst. I'm not even claiming it's bad. I'm just saying that, an injury to Munoz and all of a sudden, and then Sewald was out today because he pitched consecutive days and look what happened. Like they ran into some issues and you might say, well, Diego was really good. He was. That was the best inning Diego Castillo threw this year. And it's a shame it got overshadowed in this game because I was going to talk about that. Diego looked really sharp for the first time this year. Trevor Gott looks really good. And Matt Brash, I think, is going to be fine. But you see some of the flaws with Matt Brash. You see some of the things that were flawed with him when he was a starter last year. The command, the control is not always there. The stuff is lights out. Like Matt Brash, and you've seen the stuff on Twitter where he's throwing some of the nastiest sliders in terms of break and everything. His opening day inning performance was one of the best, performances that, one inning that we've seen in a while. We saw in the playoffs last year when he came in, runners at the second and third, and got 2 strikeouts. Brash can get you a strikeout in any situation, but he can get a little wild, and he can lose that control. And then when you're losing control and you're just trying to get things over, what happens. You know what I mean? You give up big hits. Players or hitters can sit on things. I think Matt Brash is going to be fine, but I think it is something that there's a reason I think Andres Munoz, fully healthy, is the best reliever on this team. He's got the outstanding command control with the knockout pitches. So losing Munoz for hopefully just a couple weeks is going to be a big blow. This team really needs, Paul's been good, but they need Diego to step back up, and Trevor Gott has to be really big for them too. And so does Matt Brash. And I think they're all going to be fine. I do. Matt Brash is going to 9 times out of 10 get the Mariners through that game and get them a win. But today, it just couldn't be done. Listen, as far as this series goes, the Mariners won the series, everybody. So take a deep breath. They won 2 out of 3. That's fine. Switch this game with Fridays. In your head. Do it right now. Tell me you did it. Okay, great, you did it. You'd be happy. The Mariners would have been, 2-6 after Friday. Let's say they lost that game. They were down 3-0 in the sixth. They just couldn't pull it out. Let's say yesterday just happened the way it did, and today, let's say Teoscar makes that catch. We'd all be going, listen, that's a big series win. They rebounded. They're 4-6, looking good, heading into Chicago. Good start. It just stings because it's the most recent game. Overall, if you take a look at the series as a whole, it was a good series for the Mariners. They got their first series win of the year against a good Cleveland team. Sweeps are hard. This is why. The Mariners bullpen was taxed. It had to pitch such early in the year. It did a lot of work on Friday, and it did a lot of work yesterday. Unfortunately, they needed one more out from it today, and they just couldn't get it. That's going to happen. Cleveland's a really good team. Not only are sweeps hard against anybody, sweeps are hard against the Nationals. Cleveland's really good. They are probably going to be in the playoffs. The Mariners almost swept them. They didn't. It happens. I'm not trying to be just this like, oh, he's just optimistic and a fluff piece for the Mariners. I'm not. 4-6 isn't a great start by any means, but every team has a 4-6 10-game stretch. The Mariners have played Cleveland and the Angels, two teams that, one, like I said, I think that in Cleveland that is going to be in the playoffs, almost guaranteed, and an Angels team that I think is going to be in the mix for the playoffs. So you've played two pretty solid teams. You went 4-6. 5-5 would have been better. 6-4 would have been better. But you haven't dug yourself any hole. You're not 1-9. You're not 2-8. You're a 2-game winning streak away from being back at 500. You got Luis Castillo on the mound tomorrow in Chicago, so you got to feel pretty good, going in with Luis now on the mound tomorrow. So take a deep breath. It stinks. You're going to lose games like this. There's 4 to 6 games a year that you lose that you just go, oh, how did we lose that? Especially in baseball. Guess what? The Mariners are going to have 4 to 6 wins that you're going to go, holy cow, how did they win that? Friday's a good example. That game was in the 6th inning, down 3-0, or I guess the 5th. They scored 2 in the 5th, but they were down in the 6th inning against a good Guardians bullpen. Cleveland could have shut that game out and won it and easily walked away with the win on Friday. So yesterday they got out of some tight situations to win that game. It happens. It does. This isn't, I know people are getting, well, and they do. They all count as one. This would have been nice to get. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, that I'm happy. I wanted the win today. 500 would feel great after that homestand to get a sweep on the road. But it's okay. There are games like this. Every team loses one. This isn't something you go, well, come October, we're going to look at that Guardians game and say, yep, that was one. And I get it. I do get that sentiment. But then you got to go through every team's games and do that. I'm telling you, Houston's going to lose games like this. The Angels blew a 6-run lead today, so they're already frustrated. Texas lost 2 out of 3 in Chicago. Every team loses games like this. The Dodgers will. The Astros will. The Padres will. It happens. You play 162 of these, it's going to happen. So take a deep breath. A nice series win for the Mariners. They're back on track, and they've got their ace going tomorrow. And the bullpen, I expect a roster move. I think Bukakis probably gets sent down, and they bring another fresh arm up tomorrow, to get right a little bit. And then you should still have Paul should be available tomorrow. I think Castillo is probably going to be available. I expect Gott is available. And you've got Luis Castillo who can go hopefully 6-7 innings. I will have a preview. Hopefully I'm going to try. I've got a long work day tomorrow. I don't know if I'm able to get a series preview up against the Cubs. I will try my best to do it. That's it. Mariners dropped this one 7-6. Stinks, but a nice series win for the Mariners. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time. As always, go M's. Happy Easter. Peace.